Welcome back to my channel, friends. I have missed you all so much. Thank you so much for being here and joining me for another video here on my channel. We've had some very exciting home projects going on, and today I'm going to share with you our first ever home project. I've been working on this for the past few weeks and I finally have finished the room. I finished filming it, and so now I'm sitting down to do this intro, but I cannot even tell you how exciting it is to get to create this space in our home and make it our own. So we're going to be working in my office today. I'm going to share with you the wallpaper that we're going to do and all of my plans for the room. I just can't believe that we got to do this project. It's just unbelievable to me. Let's go create our new office together. Thank you for joining me for this, and let's get started. Welcome to my office. This is the room that we're going to give a little makeover to today. So I'm going to share with you the paint color, the wallpaper that I picked out, and all of my plans for this room. I'm so excited. I can't even believe this is happening. This is like our first big house project. Technically, I guess it was the garden, but that was outside. So this is our first indoor big house project. I might actually cry when I make the very first swipe of paint on this trim. I just can't even believe that like we get to paint our own home. I picked out the paint and we get to make over this room, and I can make it anything that I want it to be. That's just like the craziest feeling. Shortly after I picked out the wallpaper, I started thinking about the trim and going back and forth on, do I want to leave the trim and the door white? Do I want to paint it a different color? There are so many options, and I really thought about this for a very long time. I've had this wallpaper picked out since February, so the whole time I've had this picked out, I've been going back and forth. I've been looking at so much inspiration and just really sitting with it and seeing how I felt. I did not want to rush this. That's been a huge thing since we moved in that I have felt strongly about, that I don't want to rush the process of anything. So any project that we do, I want to sit on it and think about it for weeks before we start to make sure that I'm making intentional decisions that I will be really happy with and love. So that is something I wanted to sit with, because it is just paint, but also I feel like that's a big decision to decide what to do for the trim in a room. I finally decided, after researching and looking at so much inspiration, like I said, that I want to paint the trim to match the wallpaper, the trim and the door. So this is the color that I matched it with. This is a Benjamin Moore paint, and it is Water's Edge. I think that that is going to be so beautiful. I actually have chills. That's how I know. That is how I know that this is the right decision for this room and for our home, is because when I look at it, I want to have chills and love it that much. And that's how I feel when I look at these. So day one of the makeover, we are starting with the paint. Okay, let's get started with the trim. Like I said, this is called Water's Edge, and I wanted to match the trim and the door in this room, like I said, with the blue that is in our wallpaper that I chose. And I really feel like this helped elevate the whole room. I'm so happy that I did this. So here is a before look at the space. I did a small swatch of the blue paint over there on the door frame, and I let that dry just to make sure before I got started with the whole thing that I loved that color and that it looked good up on the wall. So after I did that, I was like, yes, it's the perfect color, and I knew for sure then that it was going to look so good, and I decided to just go for it. So Like I said, this is the before, and as you can see, this room was painted like a brown beige color, and I've known ever since we moved in that I wanted to either paint or do some sort of wallpaper on this wall for this room to really make it feel more like me. I just felt like it had so much potential to be this really cozy and inviting space. So that is how this project got started. As you can see here, our living room is this beautiful light green, and that's one of my favorite colors. So I wanted this room to also be a color that I love, and blue is also one of my favorite colors, so I had to go with the blue. And again, you'll see at the end, it just really makes this room the most cozy little space. So we're gonna get started on all of the prep. Now that I have moved the furniture out of the way, I'm going to wipe down all of the baseboards, clean them really well as all of the walls to make sure they are ready to go for the wallpaper. There's still a little bit of prep I'll do to the walls later on, like I need to fill a few holes, but for now it was all clean so we could get ready and start painting. Okay, I thought I would pop in with a little update. All the trim is done. All I need to do now is spackle the walls, fill in any holes, and get the walls all completely prepped. That way tomorrow we can start with the wallpaper process. I can't get over my enchanting little blue door. Oh my gosh, is this not so beautiful? I just love this. And imagine once we get like the outlet cover on that I have on there with the wallpaper, this is going to be so magical. I just love it. So I wanted to give you a little update. Okay, now it is time to go around and sand any hole that I filled in this room, and then I'm going to wipe the walls down one more time as well, just to again make sure that everything is prepped and ready to go for this wallpaper. I want to thank Wallpaper Direct for partnering with me on this video. This collaboration has been in the works for the past few months, and I'm so excited that this was able to happen. It is just such an exciting and rewarding accomplishment. I never dreamed that I would be able to work with this company and get high quality wallpaper for our new home. It's just a dream come true, and I'm beyond grateful. I would have not believed this was in my future even just 6-7 months ago, so it just feels unreal. Every time I walk into this room, I'm just speechless. I can't get over it. But this is the wallpaper that I chose from their website. This is the marigold pattern in blue. They have hundreds of wallpaper brands and patterns to choose from on their website, but I'm gonna start by rolling the paste onto the wall. You will need to purchase your wallpaper paste separately as well as all of your wallpaper tools, but I'm gonna start by rolling the paste onto the wall. I know that there are multiple different ways that you can apply this type of wallpaper, but this is the technique that my husband and I found worked the best for us. So after we get this up, then I'm going to start working on all of the air bubbles. I took a little paintbrush and I went around all of the edges too before we put this up here, just to make sure that on the whole section that this would be, there was enough paste. You don't want to use too much, but you also don't want to use too little paste. So we're going to work on these first few sheets. I truly could not get over the quality of this wallpaper as I was working with it. It's just so thick, but in the best way, to where it goes on with hardly any air bubbles. I really took that putty knife and I would go over and over and over the wallpaper in all different directions to try to make sure that we got out all of the air bubbles. My husband and I both would do that on each sheet. We would just really go over it and make sure that everything was all smooth, and it was very easy to get out the air bubbles. I was just so impressed. It was truly so much easier than I thought it would be. I was super intimidated to do wallpaper at first, but I promise this was a project that I easily was able to tackle. The hardest part was like right here, for example, where there would be an outlet and a door frame, going around those edges and just making sure that you get a smooth, clean line with your X-Acto knife when you cut off the excess paper. That was the hardest part, but I'm super thankful that this project just turned out so beautifully. And thank you again so much, Wallpaper Direct, for working with me on this video and gifting us this incredible wallpaper for our new home. A couple weeks ago at Goodwill, I thrifted a whole bag of these brass switch plate and outlet covers, and ever since then I have been envisioning how this plate cover would look here up against this wallpaper, because I had already had the wallpaper picked out at the time I found these, and I knew that I wanted to use this one in this room. I do eventually want to get covers for the outlets in here that will match this, but for now I'm super happy to have that next to the door here in this office. It's just so beautiful. And now I'm going to wind down for the night. I was getting super tired and had been at the wallpaper for most of this day, so I decided to call it an evening. And before we went to bed, I thought I would include this really quick because I already had my camera out anyway, but I wanted to make a lemon loaf. If you have not made a lemon loaf yet this spring, this is your sign. You have got to make one. They are so delicious. We've been loving this to have for breakfast in the mornings. I rotate between like a chocolate bread, a regular bread, and this lemon loaf. Sometimes we also will I'll meal prep like breakfast muffins, breakfast burritos, breakfast casserole. But for this day, I wanted to make this lemon loaf because I had really been wanting a lemon bread and it was so delicious. So we're gonna wind down for the evening now, and I will pick back up with you tomorrow morning. Okay friends, it is a new day. Welcome to day 3 of working on this room makeover. I'm gonna hopefully finish up the wallpaper today. I have one wall left, so hopefully within the next few hours I will be finished. And I just had to give you a little glimpse of the chaotic mess right now because in a few hours it'll make the room transformation that much more satisfying to know that all of this is now put away and organized and in its place in the new room. So I just had to give you a little look at this. I cannot wait to get the room put back together and to get our house back in order. It's going to be so rewarding. So I can't wait to see the after, but let's get back to work. Day 3 on the room and get this wallpaper complete. Once I had all of the wallpaper up, I let it dry overnight, and then the next morning I went in with my X-Acto knife and I cut off all of the excess and made sure all of the edges were laid down smooth. This was definitely the most tedious part, to make sure that you got that clean, straight line on the edge of your wallpaper. So that definitely took me the most time out of the whole process. It takes patience and it's time consuming, and it did take just like a lot of concentration and everything like that, but I love to be creative. So if you are someone who loves being creative and doing projects like this, I really feel like this would be something that you would enjoy trying. I really loved this process and it makes me want to wallpaper another room because I just feel so inspired now with so many ideas. But I also love how the wallpaper in this room just makes this room stand apart, and it just makes it so special. I just love it. Now it is time to change out the light fixture. This was a few days later once my husband was able to get this up. I have been so excited to change out the ceiling fan. I really felt like a different light fixture would help elevate this space, and I'm so happy with the one that we went with. We looked on Amazon and I really wanted to get something flush mount. That way it wouldn't be in the way when we were walking through this room, and this is the one that we both really loved. Now it is time for me to add all of my little thrifted treasures into this room and start decorating. You will see this piece in an upcoming thrift haul. I recently found it for 79 cents. It's a little wicker letter holder or mail holder, and I thought it was really pretty here with my journal and my planner in this. I call this like my hobby shelf because I have everything on here that has anything to do with the hobbies I love. So I have all of my gardening and decorating books. I have our puzzles, our coloring books, markers, color pencils, and also all of my yarn on here. I recently thrifted these little baskets too to go on here, which was just the perfect addition to this bookshelf, and it really helped me organize all of my hobbies. I rearranged this room after I got finished about 3 different times to try to see if there was better furniture placement, but this ended up really being the best for this room. Everything just fits really well like this, and this dresser here, the white dresser to the side of my desk, holds all of my junk journal supplies. It holds paint, all of my journals and things like that are tucked away in all of these drawers, and it offers really good organization in here. I feel like the proportions of it are a little bit off because the desk is so much smaller, but again, I feel like that's just the best placement for it in this room, and I don't really have anywhere else in our home for that dresser to go. And like I said, it's holding all of my craft stuff, so that is where I decided to put it. But now I'm going to share with you the full before and after. Okay, after the room was finished, I decided there is one more thing I wanted to add, so I'm adding this clip onto the video. I ordered a blind off of Amazon because I felt like this window needed something. I didn't want to do curtains because I thought they would get in the way of these 2 furniture pieces. However, I wanted something to go on this window, so I chose this blind. I can have this linked down below. It was really affordable for this type of blind. These can be so expensive, but I love this. I love that it still lets the light flow through. It's also super easy to raise and lower, which I love. There's no cords or anything. And we also decided to get these for the kitchen and dining room, so stay tuned to see us put those up and how that looks in there. But we are super happy with these blinds. If you made it to the end of this video, I just want to say thank you so much for clicking on this video, for being patient with me, especially these last few weeks and months as we've been in the process of moving and just all these life changes, that you have stuck with me and been patient for my videos to come out. I truly did not want it to take me this long to get this video out to you, but with taking on this project and filming it as well, it just takes twice as long. And then also the whole editing process takes me about a week. So now I am finally able to share it with you. Just thank you for being patient. And then I also wanted to give you a look at our garden, a little garden update before we end out the video. I'm super thankful for how well everything is doing despite all of the crazy weather that we've had. And I also want to say my prayers are with everyone affected by the horrible storms and tornadoes that we've had. It has been heartbreaking, and my thoughts and prayers are with everyone affected. But I'm just so thankful that our garden has pushed through and is really thriving despite all of the weather conditions that we've had lately. And we have tomatoes that are starting to ripen, so it is very, very exciting, and I wanted to share with you a little update of the flowers because they looked so pretty this afternoon. But I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and stay tuned because I have a thrift haul coming soon, as well as another home project. I know, I can't believe it, but I have been feeling so inspired and really getting lots of ideas lately on ways to make our home even more like our own. So stay tuned for all of that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time.
She can walk.